Hey guys, welcome back to Redefine Our Prime. My name's Chris.
I'm Ron.
And I'm KJ.
And today we're going to talk about some character arcs from Infinity War and Endgame, the two movies. We're going to stick with the main six, Thanos, and then some other favorites of ours, and just go through what we thought about them in each of the movies, how they ended, etc. You guys ready to start?
Yeah, buddy.
Good.
So we're going to jump in with Captain America.
Who's that?
Captain
That guy right
America.
there's
Oh,
Captain
God,
America. He's right here, so we got expertise next to us. Would you like to start with Captain America?
Sure. So Captain America and Infinity War, there's not that really much to say. It definitely wasn't his movie. He wasn't the main character in it. He really had a pretty awesome part when he arrived, caught that spear. That was a pretty badass scene. Other than that, when he grabbed the gauntlet, like that was... Actually, when I was doing bench press for a while, I was like, come on, be Cap. Be Cap grabbing the gauntlet. Just go. Be that badass. But other than that, I mean, what else did he really do in Infinity War?
He fought and made it seem hopeless until Thor showed up.
Right. Like there was a part where he was being overwhelmed by those alien guys. I don't remember what their names are.
That scene kind of reminded me of an Endgame when he's about to take on Thanos' whole army. And then, you know, a scene just as good as when Thor showed up happened that we'll talk about later. But yeah.
Right.
I think they're called Outriders.
Outriders?
I think that's what they're called. Yeah, it was mainly just him on the front lines most of the movie. Like, the first time you see him, obviously, is the scene when the two members of Thanos' children go after Vision. So he temporarily saves Vision there.
Yep.
Spoilers if you haven't watched the movie a year.
No, we're going to have to put that in the thumbnail now.
But, great, sorry, spoilers from Infinity War. Ultimately couldn't save Vision. But, yeah, he was just pretty much a frontline guy. He wasn't really...
I think he had like 4 lines.
Yeah.
He was a
Shield.
Yeah.
Where? Shield.
No,
Thanks.
that wasn't it. Panther got that. He was like, "Get this man a shield." He was like, "Oh, I didn't even get to say my line."
I mean, he was kind of like a glorified grunt, you know, where he was just fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was muscle. And then he played a bigger role in Endgame.
He had badass scenes though, like watching him and Panther jump out in front of everybody to start fighting. Like that was cool. But yeah, in terms of like,
Wasn't his movie.
that's not really character development. The thing is, Infinity War is the action piece, and Endgame is like the thought behind it. It's the more the emotionally tugging at the heartstrings.
He definitely shined in Endgame the most, you know, especially the end, which...
Oh my God!
I'm going to let you talk
look at
about
that.
that first.
Look at that. I mean, look at the picture we have of him right there. Right, that was amazing.
That was nuts. He leaves the battle, runs to Home Depot real quick. It's like, "Where's your biggest hammer?" And then, bam, they give it to him. So shout out to the people at Home Depot.
Shout out to Home Depot.
Yeah, see, when I watched Infinity War the first time, I don't know if I just don't remember it, but you know when he first moved the hammer a little bit, right?
Well, that was
Ultron.
in Ultron.
Oh, that's right.
And
that
apparently,
was. Yeah.
they said that the reason he couldn't pick it up then is because he was still holding back the secret that Bucky killed Iron Man's parents.
And then after that was erased in Endgame with going back to the past and everything. Yeah, I remember that now. Okay, yeah. I only saw Age of Ultron once. That's probably why I didn't remember it.
But, I mean, in Endgame, it was amazing. I mean, I thought Chris Evans does such a phenomenal job as that character, and I can't imagine anybody else in that role.
Yeah.
In Endgame, his whole arc is fantastic. The whole, like, he's not giving up, right? Like, he will never forget. He's doing, like, the counseling, helping people grieve, get through the whole 5 years where we lost so many loved ones. By the way, I survived Thanos' snap on that website, so I was there.
I did, and then I refreshed, and I didn't survive it.
So we don't even know.
I'm calling bullshit on
Multiverse.
That site. I will say, yeah, so kind of to add on to your point of Chris Evans playing Captain America, like everybody always, like, the default, like, oh my god, greatest casting of all time is Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Agreed, totally. And the thing is, I feel like that leaves Chris Evans kind of underappreciated just because he doesn't have as many like quippy one-liners. He's not dominating, conversations in a sarcastic way like Tony Stark does. But Chris Evans has also given us some really quotable, funny stuff from Captain, which I can
do this all day.
Yeah, exactly, stuff like that, or even like this. That is America's ass. And stuff like that. So it's cool that he's been able to take this seemingly one-dimensional character that, like, in the comic books is either he's like super moral guy,
cookie cutter,
so cookie cutter, and he kind of gave him a little bit of vulnerability, made him more human. Not he's not just the Boy Scout. So yeah, shout out to Chris Evans.
Yeah. And like I said before, I loved when he was about to take Thanos' army by himself, even though he was like exhausted, and then that made when all the rest of the Avengers showed up, that made that so much more powerful.
Yeah.
Knowing that
He
he was,
finally says-
yeah, like I was gonna take you alone, but now I got all like these guys.
Back
You
up
know what I mean?
Avengers assemble, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And then him saying that he deserved every right to say that.
Yeah.
He ended. I mean, I really liked the way his character. I think I did like the way it ended, where he didn't come back after he went back to the
So
past.
I want to talk about him using Mjolnir a little bit, because that fight sequence, talk about fan service, right? And just like
good fan service.
oh my god, that
you
was
know?
amazing. The way he
Good
was
fan
using it. So the one thing I was like, is there like, does it automatically link up with like, is spinning it that obvious? Like, or do you think that because he saw Thor do it so many times throughout the years, that he kind of had a little bit of
there's there's
wrist strap? No, no.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'm just saying, like, if you had that, would that be the first thing you do?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So maybe I just don't know.
Every time Thor's flown, it's because
Well, that's what I'm
he started
saying.
doing
but he
this.
That's
saw
why
Thor
I was
do
saying,
it.
Yeah.
do you
That's the
think
thing.
he knew
Yeah.
to do that because he's seen Thor
Yes.
do it so many times?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought to do it. You know, without
It was awesome.
seeing
It was amazing.
Unless because Mjolnir is sentient.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Does it connect to you when you have
like
it?
an avatar type thing? Like, all right, connects to my braid. Type
Right,
shit.
right.
And let's not forget the tension breaker when Thor said, "Here, you take the small one."
Oh, that was
'Cause
awesome
Now he's
too.
got two
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
That was awesome.
I am confused though about them taking Mjolnir out of the past. Like, did they return that too?
He did. He brought it with him.
Ooh,
He
I never
did. He
thought
did
of
have
that.
it in his hand with the stones when he went.
That would have screwed some things up.
Yeah.
You have to put everything you took back into its same place.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that would have screwed a lot of
I'm
things.
just saying, they
Um,
never mentioned. The priority was the stones. I was just
Yeah.
like, yo, but they might have gone out for the heist on the
He
on the
did
Meow Meow.
bring. He did have it in his hand when he went through.
The Meow Meow.
But yeah, so let's talk just kind of about the wrap up on Captain America.
Yeah,
so,
I kind of jumped the gun on that side.
no, it's okay. So he goes back in time, puts back the Infinity Stones, gives back Mjolnir.
Okay, so everybody keeps talking about like, oh, that moment where he must have seen Red Skull at Vormir. Can we try to like reenact that conversation or like recreate that conversation?
Hey, sup? Just putting that back.
Steve Rogers.
Well, no, you're dressed.
Oh,
This is mega role reversal right now.
I'm actually a fan. I was rooting for you the whole time. Love your outfit.
You want this rock? Oh wait,
No.
no, give me back.
Very
my rock.
tight. Oh crap! Now I have to gut it again.
Wait a minute, I
Damn you!
got a question. If they're giving the stone back, like, couldn't he? What's the rules on putting it back? Can you get something back that you lost? I mean, no, I wasn't clear on the rules there.
In order to take it from its from that location, for it to present itself to you, you have
Boy who lived. That was the voice I was.
Or how about this? This is a way to get Black Widow back. I figured out how to get Black Widow back. He goes back 5 minutes before she jumped off the cliff and just goes, "Here you go." She never took it, and she got.
But then
the
it
one from the
becomes
future.
a constant loop of them having to recreate that moment.
And that's how you make time loops.
paradox.
Doctor Strange is freaking out right
That's
now.
the word they
All right,
throw
but
at that.
no,
every
just to
time.
wrap
Paradox.
it up and move on to the next character because we're already 8
Yeah,
minutes
we're getting
in,
off
still
topic.
on Cap, which is great because I mean
Yeah,
these characters
I'll
are
talk about
pretty
it.
awesome. So he goes back and reappears, sitting on the bench, old man Cap, and he stayed in the past with Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
And lived out his life. I love that line too, where he says, I took Tony's advice and tried out living a life, right? Because when they see Tony in the beginning of the movie, he's got his daughter, and he says like, "I did it. I'm living my life now."
He's
something
happy
like
with
that.
Pepper. It's nice.
Right. So he does that, and they do a little bit of a show to show him in the past, like dancing with her and stuff. Which is awesome because that was the dance that he missed when he says like I'm gonna have to get a rain check on that dance, right?
That
When
was
he
the flashback,
hit the
yeah.
ice.
See, the only thing now that was great. There's great ending for the character. I mean, it sucks that he's not going to be in any more movies.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only downside. But the one thing I didn't like about that was not the dance itself, but the fact that the movie ended on that. I mean, yeah, Cap's awesome, but there's 100 other Avengers, and you're going to end it on one single Avengers arc. I mean, I think. Like, remember how the first Avengers ended, where it was in Stark Tower, and you saw the A, and they kind of like flashed
Oh,
through
they
all
ended
of
with
them.
all them eating Chinese food.
No, that was after the credits.
Well, I think the reason they did it that way with him was because they wanted to kind of they did the tribute for Tony already. They did the whole funeral thing. Obviously, if anybody got fucking left out, it was Widow, but because apparently she, no special thing for her. But
Yeah,
like,
you were
at least
nice to look at, but
so yeah, at least
rest in peace.
with Cap, at least like we saw like the ending of his story, and then also like comparing the ending of this, you can't really compare it to the original Avengers because the original Avengers was like the beginning of the Infinity Saga.
Yep.
This is like the end, the conclusion. They purposely didn't do any end credit scenes because they wanted to just like.
Oh, I understand that perfectly. No, I think that should have been the end credit scene. That could have been the end credit scene. It doesn't give you any clues to any other movies. It wraps it up. I just think that I just wanted to see it end on like all of them like flashing through what they're all doing.
But there isn't all of them anymore. That's why I was kind of.
I know, but
Cap's the first Avenger, and it ends with him with his final little sneak. It's whatever. But,
yeah.
So there's one other thing that I've given a lot of thought to this, and I'm okay with it with a caveat. So the first time I saw it, when Cap gives his shield to Falcon instead of Winter Soldier, because I know that from the comics they both have a stint as Captain America.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, Bucky's his best friend. He's been like his whole arc, Winter Soldier, all these movies about him and Bucky, but he chooses to give the Captain America shield to Falcon. Why didn't he give it to Bucky? So at the time I was a little upset about it, but now thinking about it more, I'm actually okay with it because he wanted to be done fighting. Bucky, is basically the same thing. Bucky should be done fighting. There's no more. He should be free to just go and live. He doesn't have to be Captain America. He doesn't have to go and try to be that hero anymore. He can be the White Wolf or whatever they called him, right, in Black Panther when he didn't have his arm, the robotic arm. He was just kind of like farming, like living a peaceful life. So by not giving the shield to him, it gives him the ability to go and just live a life like he was able to do going into the past. The only caveat to that is because we know on the Disney streaming service there's going to be a buddy cop show, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It looks like he's not done yet. But anyway, that's my whole thought on that moment.
Any other things on Captain America?
Do you guys have any opinions on the Shield?
I wanted Bucky to be the next I like him better.
Honestly, I don't care who gets it because they're not going to top him, you know? So it's whatever for me.
Yeah. But I knew going into it.
Could have given it to Tony's daughter for all I cared, you know?
All right, so moving on. Thor.
Fat Man.
Thor. All right, so let's. Like, who wants?
Bring me Thanos.
Yeah,
Bring me donuts.
Bring me to that. That's a good way to say it. Who wants to start off with Thor?
I mean, Thor in Infinity War. He has a fantastic arc through Infinity War. This is also post Ragnarok, so this is goofy, fun Thor. The whole part, like I loved the parts when he was with the Guardians of the Galaxy because I think that whole dynamic is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait.
Yeah,
for
since
Guardians
Ragnarok, they
of the
made
Galaxy
him a little more comedic.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That was also I like that. You know, all that. The only thing was when he came back, when he showed up to the Wakanda fight.
Yeah.
It was probably the best entrance, most heroic scene.
Sure.
You know, badass, whatever you want to say. And the way, you know, he showed, like we said before, it's hopeless, and all of a sudden you just see that hammer, and you know it's the brand new hammer that he just got, and all of a sudden it just goes right to his, he didn't even look, like, you know, he's just looking straight at the battle, and it just, bam, right into his hand, like, he doesn't flinch, and the music and everything, like you said, do it again. What does he say?
Bring me Thanos!
Yeah, and then, boom, and I remember we saw that.
You're like,
yeah, and I remember, first of all, the whole theater clapped, and I love when that happens. When the whole theater claps, that's why we go to the movies, okay? And we saw that with me and you went with my dad, and my dad's watching it, and he really liked that. And then we flashed to Thanos fighting Iron Man and all them on whatever planet they were on, and he just looks at me, he goes, why did Thor go there? They need Thor. Like, Thor should be there. Yeah. You know, I mean, as cool as it was, like they could have really used him with he might not have gotten to do that, you know? So,
yeah, which is weird because you think if he's with Rocket and all of the Guardians of the Galaxy were with Iron Man fighting Thanos, why wasn't Rocket able to say, because he teleported them to Bifrost. So why didn't him and Groot say, okay, my team's here fighting Thanos, let's warp there so you can kill him, instead of warping here to just...
Because they wanted to make Endgame, but it's all good.
Okay, just like kind of
it's all good, you know?
Open question.
Well, no, he got there after Thanos had already gone to Earth. Because it wouldn't have made sense if he said, bring me Thanos, and he wasn't there yet.
That's just...
Was he there?
Yeah, because he
Someone in the comments just respond.
Just help us out there. You know, these movies are they have so many.
Yeah, because it would have been weird if you
know?
would have been like, bring me Thanos in like 5 more minutes.
He hasn't appeared yet.
He'll be right here. Okay, he's on his way. It's a really long distance.
I thought
He's teleporting. He wasn't there.
All right, whatever.
He was
Plus, those guys did need help, so maybe,
anyway, it works
maybe it's
out.
okay.
He kills it in Infinity War. Great character story. Loved his interactions with the other characters, and he didn't go for the head. Great scene.
That was
great. He probably
too.
needed a little bit of a recovery period after taking that blast from that star.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. Even if the hammer does juice him up a little bit, you gotta 20 minutes. Take a little bit.
I agree with you. He did show up a little because I watched it, recently, like the actual movie, because I usually just watch that scene on repeat on YouTube, and I didn't realize how close it was from him getting the hammer to him showing up. It might have been more advantageous to like give a little more time so that maybe we forget about him. And then when he shows up, it would have made it. I mean, it was awesome either way.
Yeah.
But
no, it was great.
Yeah.
Loved him in Infinity War. 10 out of 10. Jump to Endgame.
Fuck
and we get Fat Thor, who after the first 5 minutes of the movie, when he goes for the head, he goes into kind of like a depression, right? More or less, right? He
that was just an outburst.
Let everybody. He takes it all upon himself that since he didn't go for the head, all these people died. He lost half of the Asgardians, plus anyone that died regularly in combat.
All
when
the other
Thanos,
Avengers,
He lost his brother, the Avengers. Like, he's just sad. And his way to cope with that is to play Fortnite and drink tons of alcohol.
With Korg. Because who wouldn't want to live with Korg?
And scream at Noob Master 69.
Yeah.
He called me a dickhead again.
Yeah, but so I loved Fat Thor. I thought awesome. It was hilarious. I love when he goes back in the past to get the what stone is that? The red one.
The ether.
Yeah, he goes back to get the ether.
I'm totally from the future.
But he gets.
That was cool. You got to see his mom more because they never really used Renee Russo was a really good actress and they barely used her in the movie. So
it
gave relevance to Thor too, which is hard to do. It's a shit movie.
I get what they did. With he could be fat and still be the God of Thunder. I like that message. I do.
He's still worthy. That was the whole part.
Yeah.
When he reached out, and he was nervous because he didn't think it was gonna come. And when it did, he was like, "Oh!" He's like, "I'm still worthy."
I just wish. I know you guys are gonna disagree with me on this, but I wish that maybe in The Last Stand something happened where he just lightning bolted into his original, looked like that again. If I wish he just had one of those moments because he really didn't do much in terms of. If am I not remembering this correctly? Was he a big player in the end fight? He did, yeah.
He did a lot of Thunder things.
I just don't really remember that well with him.
I liked it because for me, the way they drew him up, because he was big, he was thicker. I feel like they were able to draw more comparisons to him and maybe an action version of Odin. Like back in his day, he's got the more grizzled. He's got the dreadlock type hair. He's got more of a robe instead of the form fitting armor.
Yeah.
I feel like he I don't know. To me, it harkens. I play Smite, and if you look at the Odin in that game, it looks a lot like Thor did as Fat Thor.
Yeah.
So I was cool with it. I thought they made him look cool. They were able to work with he's got a couple extra pounds, whatever.
I thought he was when he got struck by lightning. I thought that was
I thought he was gonna melt too.
Me too.
But it for what it was, I'm okay with it. I am super pumped again when he's with the Guardians now, and he's the whole back and forth with him and Quill with the Captain.
That's great. And then Drax always messing with Quill, be like, "Why are you impersonating the God Man?"
Yeah. And now he's not. Now they didn't call him the Chiseled Angel or the Pirate Angel when he came back. Now he's just
They could have done a really cool little flash, a little nod to Thor 1, where when he does thunder juice up again with the hammer, they're it's a good look or something like that, going back to the first one where Jane Foster said it to him.
Well, yeah,
the new version.
You know what I honestly think it was? I think that the directors and writers were trying to troll all the women who don't like Marvel but are just going to see his abs.
That is pretty funny.
Because
that I did see some people tweet that I can't wait to see Chris Hemsworth's abs in this movie.
I saw.
Should we tell her?
Yeah, I saw a meme like that, but now that I'm thinking of it, what if they did that on purpose? Just for the sole reason of, your girlfriend, we're going to go see Avengers, and she's like, oh, well, at least I get to see Chris Evans' abs. And then they get there, and in the beginning, and all of a sudden, they got, 2.5 hours of No,
Thor.
Chris Evans.
But they did get America's ass though, so it's kind of it balances. It balances. You take.
It's Chris Evans, right?
That's Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, Hemsworth. Why, that's Captain America, Chris
Yeah.
Evans, right? Sorry, guys.
I
don't know why I said that.
I think it. I know Marvel's pretty like into the whole like positivity, right? Like they're pro.
Everyone.
Pro feminine, right, with the Captain Marvel and all those other movies. So this is kind of like a body image positivity thing. That Thor, even though he went from being the most chiseled, the strongest Avenger, to a bigger, heavier guy, is still worthy, can still kick butt and all that stuff. That's my random assumption. Or they're just going for legit comedy. And it hit too.
Yeah, no, the comedy was great. It's just that I really wanted another moment like Infinity War with him. But it's all good. There was plenty of good moments in Endgame, so I'm not complaining.
So I give Thor. I think what we should do. I give Captain America I give him an A. I loved his character throughout the whole thing. I give Thor that too. I love how it wrapped up, and I cannot wait to see more Thor.
I give him a B+. I give him an A+ in Infinity War, and I give him a B+ in this movie.
I'd grade him as a this.
All right, so we got one A, one thumbs up, and one B+.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Now we're gonna jump to Black Widow. Who wants to start for her?
So I do have one thing I want to like kind of get off my shoulders with Black Widow. So
Scarlett Johansson.
So I guess I'll just
beautiful. Oh.
Yeah, she's totally a hottie. But with Black Widow in Infinity War, I don't know. She had a lot of awesome moments in Infinity War. She was kind of similar to Cap, where she was on the ground a lot, but it felt like she was kind of the one running the Dark Avengers team a little bit.
Yep.
And I don't know, like she has her fight with Proxima Midnight. Those are super badass. The one in the subway, and then the one in the big fight.
Yep.
The whole fight with her, Okoye, and it wasn't Scarlet Witch. It was I guess maybe it was eventually Scarlet Witch, but yeah, I thought she came in later and then just like
it was two of them, and then Scarlet Witch came and lifted her up, and Okoye was like, why was she inside the whole time?
Right, yeah. So so I mean, they always do a good job with Black Widow, like even though she's just a human who has just like great assassin capabilities and marksmanship, they make her relevant and like make her like a good cog in every scene and plot.
Especially in the beginning, I think.
Yeah.
Well, when she was kind of like the face of how the Avengers are feeling.
She was kind of leading both. So to KJ's point, in the Dark Avengers, when they were kind of running away from the government and kind of doing things in secret, she was kind of running the show and was a grunt with Cap. Mm-hmm. And then in Endgame, she was leading the leftover Avengers, or the remainders, in charge of like the Earth part, like letting everyone know what they have to do.
What she ended up doing, which I'm going to talk about in a second, I think was good because it gave her character a really good thing that like she did during the movie. She really helped by, you know what I'm saying? Because
she made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, she's a human. She can't do the things that the other ones are doing. Like, she's not going to do as much damage as Thor's Thunderbolt or, Iron Man's missiles or what the Hulk could do. So it was pretty cool that in the Avengers 1, what did she do? She kind of closed the portal a little bit. Yeah, they just needed to give her something to do. So I kind of liked how in this movie she did do something really, really important.
She's a little more integral. Yeah, she's fighting one of the children of Thanos, and they're the big bads.
And then she makes the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah. And just really quick, this is the last thing I'm going to say about her, and then you guys can just go at it. When I was watching it in the theaters, I've had jobs that I've hated before, and when I'm watching her and Hawkeye fight over who gets to go over the cliff, it reminded me of two employees fighting over who gets to get laid off, so that they could collect unemployment or something.
Right.
That's what it reminded me of. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry if I took away this from the scene, but it was a good time, and I like how that happened with her because it gave her purpose other than looking at her, So, yeah.
Well, she again.
Is that gonna come off as sexist? I'm sorry.
That whole scene I thought was really well done, and I actually there was only one reason why I assumed she was gonna go, and it's because in the trailers they show that scene with Hawkeye in the sewers, shooting his bow and then blowing stuff up, and I didn't see that yet. So I was genuinely who's gonna go when they both started doing that fight and going off. I didn't know. I thought it was great. They did a great job. The actors did a great job portraying the love for each other. where they were going to sacrifice. I was going to sacrifice. No, I'm going to sacrifice. And then
Yeah, you got a good insight on their actual friendship, you know, because what did they mention that Budapest, right? They mentioned that again, so like you get like this idea.
They've been through hell together.
Because they said that in the first Avengers too, I think. Yeah.
And I guess my final say is I think that was a great scene. She does make the ultimate sacrifice, and then to KJ's point earlier, she doesn't really get anything up, any like funerals, any. You know that they remember her though, because Hulk takes the bench and chucks it. Mm-hmm. But like she'll always be remembered. She's getting her own movie, which is going to be pretty awesome. It's in the 90s.
So my one issue with the way the whole Black Widow thing is panned out. So like up until now, you know, Cap, I've been happy with his whole story arc. Thor, thus far, obviously we know we're continuing with Thor with Asgardians of the Galaxy. I'm enjoying his arc. With Widow, I feel like they would have made her sacrifice so much more gut wrenching for the audience, because like nobody liked losing Widow because she's been one of the OGs since Iron Man 2. But had they not, I feel like, delayed or slept on her Origins movie, and they would have given her more backstory and really gone through what she's like gone through, because they
should have done the Origins first.
Yeah,
right?
you meet her before after she's already gotten her clean slate or whatever. You know, they've cleared her ledger. So I feel like them kind of dragging their feet on that kind of.
Yeah, they probably should have done Captain Marvel a lot earlier, because then, like, when she comes back to help everybody, like, you know, I felt like that was very quick when we saw that movie to see this movie, you know?
It felt a little shoehorned, yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, KJ. Yeah, they should have given her origin so that her death seemed more... Because, like, now you're going to watch the origin movie and be like, oh, I know she's going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know...
it might push people to, like, watch Endgame again, but, I mean, you should be watching Endgame over and over again anyway. So.
Right. So, Black Widow, I give her like a B. Nothing too crazy, nothing too important, but I thought, you know, Scarlett did a great job, and yeah.
Yeah, no, she's all right. She's good.
Yeah, she did a great portrayal.
All right, next.
Moving on.
Well, we gotta include him, don't we?
Now, Hawkeye.
Yes.
So Hawkeye in Infinity War was absent, but that's because he took a plea deal similar to Ant-Man to be able to just protect his family. So he was on his ranch, hanging out with his fam, which you get to see in before the opening credits roll in Endgame, right? They kind of show him having a great barbecue, enjoying life, smile on his face, teaching his daughter how to shoot the bow.
Kate Bishop.
And yeah, it was just like, it was great. And then all of a sudden that snap happens, and when you see, I mean, Jeremy Renner?
Jeremy Renner, yeah.
He crushes the panic and the feeling of true loss.
He had no idea what happened.
The helplessness, yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that talk about starting the movie off with tear in your eye. It was just like, oh my god, what a great fucking job.
Yeah, because in Infinity War, like, you see a lot of these people, like, they're watching their friends get dusted, so at least they know what's happening.
Yeah, they know
he
what's
literally
going
just
on,
turned his head for a minute, and then his family's gone. So it's like that added layer of panic.
Yeah.
It just like.
Plus, he was in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. He's just like, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, that took me right into the movie, because when I first saw him teaching his daughter how to shoot a bow, I was like, all right, this is an interesting way to start the movie. Okay, we haven't seen him in a while, and all of a sudden, when she disappeared with the dust, I was like, oh
yeah.
This is right now, like, they're fighting Thanos, or Thanos just left, and
Thanos
that just happened. Okay, so that got me right into the movie. I was really happy with that scene. It was a good job. Plus, it was a more realism scene. You know how the Avengers is a lot of fun and it's colorful and it's cartoony sometimes. That was more, I felt, like, gritty and real.
Well, it's also like if everyone's like, oh, imagine if that was real.
Yeah.
How could that be? That's kind of like, imagine you being in that universe with a family, not really doing anything, and all of a sudden every single member of your family's gone.
Yes.
So that starts
you're not even
aware
that
this
sense
of loss.
Because Fury didn't know what was happening. Why would Hawkeye know what was happening?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's nuts, and it's like they wanted. Shout out to the Russo brothers, obviously, because they started this movie off like with that gut punch again, because it was the continuation of Infinity War. Like, what was the end of Infinity War? You watch all these awesome people get dusted.
Yep.
So they're just like, all right, you know what? We're going to continue with this. Like, we're going to start keep it on a somber tone.
Yep.
And it was it was just that much more impactful. The rest of the movie just hooks you in immediately.
And then Endgame, I mean, I loved Ronan. I loved that whole thing. He's super badass, taking out any evil entity that has survived the snap in place of his family, right? That's kind of his whole gimmick. where they find him completely annihilating the Yakuza members, and then he goes with Black Widow, and it's just again, Jeremy Renner, that whole scene with him and Scarlett Johansson fighting each other, fantastic.
I love watching them fight each other. Like in the first Avengers movie, they fought each other. They fought each other in Civil War. They're like, we're still friends, right? Like, oh, depends how hard you hit me or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's the dynamic they have, and it's just fun to keep seeing. Like, I'm a wrestling fan, and usually when you see two people who put on really good matches together, you'll have a chance to fight forever. That's the kind of thing you see with Widow and Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm. Glad he came back. I'll watch his show because he's also one of the members of the Avengers that are going to get their own Disney streaming service show, right? It's gonna be him with
They gotta build up his daughter, yeah. So yeah, I mean
his daughter's gonna be a superhero.
Well, she's one of the new Avengers in the comics.
She takes his place.
Oh, okay.
She becomes the new Hawkeye. Yeah, they do a lot of that.
That's why he's teaching her how to do the bow, because they're foreshadowing that, right? Okay.
Yeah, and then also I'll go into somebody we're gonna talk about later. Also has some progeny that is supposed to be a new Avenger, or young Avenger.
Okay.
Jiggy.
Yes.
You right.
Hawkeye. So Hawkeye's pretty cool. I like that. This is the first movie they've actually used that term Hawkeye, and it was when he was teaching his daughter how to shoot. In every movie,
that's right.
His first cameo was in the first Thor movie, and even back then, Selvig refers to him as the Hawk. You never hear his full name. So I thought that was a cool little nod, being that this might be the last movie he's in. He might just be doing the series going forward, but who knows? I thought he had a really cool arc. I thought that, stemming from Age of Ultron, when they finally show like his family and that he has this whole other life.
Yeah, like
basically.
when they stop for lunch with his wife and everything.
Yeah,
can I make you guys some hot pockets? And they're all in their uniforms and like what?
Yeah, kids are just playing with the toys like, oh wow, the Avengers are here, awesome.
Wasn't there a part in that movie where I don't want to get off topic, but where he's like, hey, the land is floating. Does that make sense?
He's like, I have a bow and arrow.
Like, didn't he like kind of like
that's when he was giving Widow
break the fourth wall that this is ridiculous?
Yeah,
like, they acknowledge how ridiculous the movie was. Yeah, okay.
He was giving Scarlet Witch.
I have respect for that.
But Hawkeye, he knows his role. He knows that he's not the strongest, but he knows that he's a tactician and all that kind of stuff. So again, along the same lines of Black Widow. They find ways to use them and implement them in ways that are realistic, because obviously you have movies about gods and aliens from outer space and stuff like that, and you kind of have to ground it with people like Hawkeye
definitely.
And Widow, which is great. And I think he got a great arc. Them having the whole back and forth on Vormir. Like in my head, I'm watching the movie. I'm already betting it's going to be Widow, because it's like, why would they have Hawkeye make the sacrifice, and then say his family does come back, if they are able to defeat Thanos and stuff like that, like leave them without their father, or husband. So that it made sense that he got to live, and overall I really liked his arc. It was a really interesting take that they decided to send those two to Vormir. I didn't see that coming, so I tried to stay away from spoilers and things like that, because I like to actually enjoy the movie and not start critiquing before I've even seen it. So I more thumbs. That's my grading system. It's just thumbs. Either thumbs up or thumbs down.
Thumbs up. A for the beginning, and he did what he had to do. Yeah.
So because of how long we're running right now, we're gonna go ahead and close out this video, and we'll make a part 2. So please look out for that video, and we'll see you guys soon. Make sure to like and subscribe. And leave a comment on your favorite character and your thoughts on their arcs.
Absolutely.
And look out for the part 2 video coming soon.
Yeah, buddy.
Oops, sorry.
We're gonna get copyright flagged.
Borf.